Yeah, pleasant good morning to each and everyone, man. Happy to be here again. Welcome back into the space, the morning inside is here again. Welcome. It's Monday, blessed Monday. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Even though the true and true reggae boy supporters, them, it's been a rough couple of days, since Friday night, that big game in Curacao. Now we are looking for that big day tomorrow. But at this moment, the reggae boys is on the bounce back trail. It's time for the boys to oppose themselves and show what it is to get their first win in the October window, and actually their first goal in the October window. Imagine September, we recorded 2 back-to-back clean sheet, scoring 6 goals in the 2 games. Now it's like our back is against the wall, as much as it is a Bermuda team that at this moment they're just here to play some game and enjoy their moment. They will not be nowhere near the top of the table or in the second place to even push for a playoff. It is what it is. But the reggae boys, this is not a meaningless game. This is an important game that's going to mean a lot to the country. It's going to be a lot on the boys' plate. The pressure will be on, especially coming up in the first 45 minutes if we cannot break the deadlock. But we're not there as yet. But I'm just saying, it's a little bit over 24 hours recording this video. Look, the boys will encounter a Bermuda team at home and home side inside of the office, and I think that with the team lost that game, in Curacao, coming back home, a lot of people expecting us to get that 3 points, to say at least that maybe October the 14th could be that 98. Yeah, could be that 98. What, November the 16th we did qualify for the World Cup. A lot of people expecting it. Steve McLaren said that. I think he was saying something in the press around where he said that, what you think of, I think he's trying to say that, it was a little bit too early to think of the team will qualify, in the October window, and this group will always be tough. But Steve McClaren is another thing, that's, I will talk about him a little bit in the video. Look, the players coming in tomorrow, this game, the players should show a lot of character. The leadership around the place, in terms of the players, the leadership pool, the players that who are, the experienced players in around this national team. We need to see character. We need to see a bounce back. We need to see fighting spirit from the players. We need to demonstrate and use Bermuda as an example of, look, what happened in Williamstown in Curacao was a mistake. We should use this game, use this perfect platform coming up tomorrow versus Bermuda on our own turf, to show them that we are back on the grass and we are going to show what the reggae boys made up. And we should set example. We should beat them in emphatic result. We should beat them in a very, very comfortable way. Look, there shouldn't be any challenges coming in that game tomorrow. We should just wipe them off the floor and just get rid of them, and just let the boys go back, to their club team, and to focus and re-energize back themselves. And guess what? In coming weeks again, it will be international break again. So I'm just saying, man, it's a bounce back trail. The boys must show character. The coach must show character, and the likes of KASEY Palmer, the likes of HAYDEN will be back. I'm expecting both players, to get in the starting 11, for tomorrow games, as both players they are fresh, missing the first game. Especially HAYDEN, the team was missing so much in that game. KASEY Palmer, not someone that is not my favorite player, but I still support him whenever he gets select, whenever he put on the black, green and gold shirt. Still support him. But I'm expecting to see both players, go straight into the starting level tomorrow, and both players will make a difference, and they should make a difference. Especially at KASEY Palmer, these type of opposition. This is his level. The Caribbean teams, this is where he performed, the highest, for the national team against these lesser opponents. And Bermuda at home, can he give us that performance that he gave, in the Cuba game in the Nations League at home? I think that was, I remember if that was Steve McCLaren's first home game where, we drew that game, so again we need performance. We know what we're going to get from Isaac Hayden. He will bring back that staple, he bring back that leadership in that midfield, and he bring that overall workman style performance, and try to to organize up back that midfield again. So hopefully we can get the ball rolling in that midfield. But this is what I want to talk about. Moving on now, to Steve McCLAREN. This is what I really want to go into and talk about of the gaffer. Remember the last interview of when we played, I think it was a post game for the Panama game in the Gold Cup. Remember when Steve McCLAREN said this?
Coach, what are kind of the key factors that you could take away from these 3 matches that we can utilize going forward?
Yeah, this has been, despite the results and everything, this has been just what we needed to see. It's a wake-up call. People who think they're comfortable in this squad, we've all had a wake-up call of what we can do and what we can't do. And it's been, I said at the beginning of the month when we started on the 24th in the UK, in London, and I said what we're going to do is we're going to learn so much about the players, so much about the character, so much about the commitment that is required.
Remember when Steve McCLAREN said all of that players, I literally throw a lot of players under the bus. No, we've seen similarity, we've seen similar traits. What happened in the Curacao game, you would say he let down himself tactically, and certain players let him down as well. That he talk about all of it. Where is all of that? No, like where is it? No, I'm not sure. Like I'm seeing the standards being set around the place by the gaffer. I'm not seeing it. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but let me know what you guys think. Like where is it? Where is the standard around the place? I'm not seeing it. Where is it from Steve McCLAREN? And Steve McCLAREN must take blame for a lot of things that is happening around the national team. Who is holding these players accountability? Who's holding these players of not having any standard around the place? And a lot of these stuff, it should set by the leaders around the player camp and the leaders in around the coaching staff, but more so for the captain for the ship. He is Steve McCLAREN, and he's not setting the example around the place. When you look at the interview that he did, the post-game show for the Curacao game, when he's going to come out and talk about,
I think we lost the game really in the first 20 minutes.
The team lost the game in the first 20 minutes. I'm still thinking about, like, how can a coach come in a post-game show, lose against a team, like lost a game versus Curacao, and talking about the team lost the game in the first 20 minutes? No, I'm trying to process that. I'm trying to process it of what he just said. The team lost the game in the first 20 minutes. So you're telling me that the next 25 minutes in that first half, you didn't try to change anything, you didn't try to tweak anything? So if you see that the team lost the game or losing the game in the first 20 minutes, what is the reaction? What is the thought process of trying to get back the national team in? I'm not sure. I'm confused at this moment. I'm totally confused of Steve McCLAREN and the way how he's giving press, the way how he did do his interview, and the way how he conduct himself to the media. That's how the team is setting up on the pitch. That's how the team look tactically woeful all over the place. That's how the team look. And Steve McCLAREN, it's coming from the gaffer. How he present himself to the media, how he do and conduct himself in our own interviews, post-game show, press conference. It's the same way the team is playing on the pitch. So there's no real accountability is holding around the place. There's no real standards around the place from the gaffer himself. Tactically, the team is not setting up properly. Preparation, the team is just look like it's just a pickup team at this moment. He just seems like he don't know what the hell he's doing. Steve McCLAREN is not a tactical, genius. He's a good man manager. I think he knows to galvanize a group of players, but I'm just not seeing it at this moment. I'm just not seeing it. It's just not processed. I know I'm not the only one seeing that. Look at a coach like Dick Advocate. Look at a coach like Jesse Marsh. A lot of these big name coaches came in around the same time of a Steve McCLAREN, and guess what? Guess what happened? These nations have all made the tweak. The coaches make decisions, they make changes, and their team has improved massively. The teams have improved massively. When you look at the BVI game, poor. When you look at the St. Vincent game, poor. The team prepared. Look, the team is not playing attractive football. The team is not no real good shape or organization. The team is unprepared. Tactical selection, a lot of woeful decisions have been made. So what is going on around the place? It's just this job, what Steve McCLAREN is trying to do. It just seems like it's just a smash and grab at this moment. It's just a smash and grab at this moment. I know for sure that this man isn't a project coach. This is not the coach that's going to come in and do a job and build a project around the job. This guy is just a smash and grow. And I heard that I think next month will be the anniversary of Steve McCLAREN disaster game versus Croatia inside the Wembley Stadium. So I'm not sure real direction of where this team is heading, especially under this coach, and how much the owners to blame, the hierarchy to blame from a poor disaster Gold Cup, a poor Gold Cup. We could have afforded to let him go at that time. There's no way Steve McCLAREN should have taken up another opportunity to coach the reggaeboy team after a disaster what happened in the Gold Cup. That last game versus Panama, and that last post game that he made, and the comments and the remarks he made towards the players and everything, and not taking the blame for himself and not holding himself accountable, no standard. That should have been the last real interview it did in the national colors. And we could have afforded to lose a Steve McCLAREN right after the Gold Cup. Why? It's a Caribbean zone. It's Curacao, it's Bermuda, it's Trinidad and Tobago. We could have at least get someone in that's going to prepare. There's coaches that make a huge difference, in around these national teams in this region. But only Steve McCLAREN is doing a job that it's going to take, Albert Einstein to try to figure out what the hell is going around this place. Let me know, what you guys think. But I'm not seeing no real improvement. I saw flashes, I saw glimpses of the Unity Cup and stuff like that, but I'm not seeing the real deal of what Steve McCLAREN can really bring to this table for this national team. And I do feel like, look, if he really get our national team to qualify for the World Cup, I'm not sure if he's the right one to get this team, to have the team in the dugout, to manage this group of players for the World Cup. I'm not sure if he will be the right guy. I think if we go to the World Cup with this fella Steve McCLAREN, we will get our face kicked in left, right and center. I'm not sure if he's the one that will bring us forward. So no real attitude, no real preparation. The team is looking like it's a team. The team look dysfunction, and that's why they said sometime in life you have to be careful what you wish for. He wish for the JFF hierarchy to boot Al Grims out the door, because his philosophy, his tactics, the way how you play not attractive football. It's boring, it's lethargic, it's sluggish, lazy type of playing. But we didn't know that was the best of the national team, and that was the best he could have get out of those players at the time, playing defensive football, real solid at the back. And Grimmy gave us a lot of big moments in big games you know, versus the US, versus Panama, you know, away to Mexico in the El Clasico, in the Azteca, you know, beating, you know, a Canadian team in Canada at BMO Field, breaking their long-standing record, qualify the team for the Copa America, qualify the team for Gold Cup semi-final. What Grimmy have done in his little 2 years, it's a lot compared to what Steve McCLAREN have done. Steve McCLAREN haven't done nothing. We exit out of the group stage, and a lot of these Caribbean opposition team, Alf Grimson, go ahead and beat these teams. So we didn't really struggle when it comes on to certain teams. Yes, under Grimmy, you know, some games in the Nations League, like I think it was the 80 game as well, we kind of a little bit struggle. I think, you know, I remember we played another Caribbean team away as well. You understand? I think it was Grenada. You know, even though we think we beat them 4-1, but we tend to struggle in games. And even talk about McCLAREN, he talk about the pitch, he talk about every interview that McCLAREN did in the past, and the Reggae Boy lost that game. It's always the team not starting good. He's always blaming decisions. He's always blaming that. How many times Steve McCLAREN ever come and do interviews and talk about the team not starting properly? Whose job is that? Whose job is that for the team to start properly? And we cannot go in that game tomorrow versus Bermuda and start the game lazy and slow. There's no real pace, energy. The team just looks slow. The team just look unorganized and dysfunction. Just like all this guy do his interviews. There's no real preparation. There's no real organization around his interview. His interviews are all over the place because he shoot himself in the leg multiple times on multiple different occasions. So the body language of him is actually rubbing off on the players on the pitch. And as much as I'm blaming Steve McCLAREN, the players going to get grabbed by the neck as well of some of those performances and the shift and how they didn't motivate themselves to go in the games. When you put in on the colors, you have to be motivated. You understand? So, I mean, let me know what you guys really think around what is really going on around the place. Like, you know, how can Steve McCLAREN fix this? Do you trust this guy to fix this, to fix all these issues at this time? You know, I mean, we need to beat Bermuda. We need to beat them convincingly. Like, we need to slap them away. We need to give them 4-5 with a performance. We need to put in a very good performance. You know, going that look, November would be Curacao at home and away in one of the most trickiest game because we lost against Curacao, so we cannot lose another home or away game. So we need a performance. We need a victory. We need something to give us back some moral boosts, knowing that to look ahead of, can you lift the spirit of the Jamaican people of putting on a show at home versus a Bermuda team? You know, Isaac Hayden and KASEY Palmer should make that midfield better, but I'm expecting changes. I'm expecting a whole lot of changes. So people, thanks for watching. This is Nicardo Media House and I'm out. Salute to you guys. See you later again doing another video. Ciao, ciao.